to work, just like in the classroom, right? So I'm going to show you a number of games. There you go, they're lying down here. So if you're online, you can't really see them. If you're here in the classroom, you will be able to come later on and touch all of them and try them on. So let's start with the first. It's a yes/no questions game. Can you guess? I will be telling yes or no. Can you guess what happened? A woman walks into a cafe. She asks for a glass of water, but the waiter draws out a gun, points it right at her, and the woman says, "Thank you." What happened? What do you think? You can ask me yes/no questions. What do you think? What happened?
Is the guy the QR reader?
No.
Is the guy the real gun?
No. No. It's a good one, but no. 10 seconds left. Well, it looks like you're not getting a treat because there was a surprise if you win this one, but no. I wanted to leave you early, but no, you didn't get it, so you're staying for the whole workshop. So the trick is, what happened? The woman had hiccups and she wanted a glass of water, but the guy thought, oh, I'll frighten her. It will work much, much better. So there you go. This is a game. It's called Black Stories. And it's just a card with one side, the story you need to guess. The other side is with the answer. And I just unhooked my microphone. Okay. Let's just hook it again. So my question to you would be, after playing it just for 1 minute, because that's what these games are, Black Stories. Did you like this game? And did you learn or practice anything? What do you think? Did you practice anything?
Yes, questions.
Exactly. What else? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And in any of the answers you're giving me, is there a wrong answer? Whatever you practiced, you practiced. If it was grammar, asking yes/no questions, great. If it was great. If it was interaction with other human beings, great. If it was technology you were using, great. Whatever you were practicing, rather than the traditional classroom. And we know that traditional classroom is gone, but actually sometimes it comes back. In traditional classroom, the student sits down and we don't know what's happening. So here I'm controlling the classroom without actually doing much. And I'm sure you're practicing something. The better I can choose the games for this practice, the more you practice what I actually want you to practice. So for instance, here, I wanted you to practice questions. And you did that. So are games useful in the classroom? Well, just go online and have a list, and yes, they are. So break routine. They are unexpected. They give reward. It can be a warm-up or a cool-down at the end of the lesson. Games give instant feedback. You know right away if you can ask questions or use the vocabulary or talk to other people. Cooperation, which means you work in a team straight away because the game makes you do it, or you compete if you want it, if it helps you. And then, does it feel like learning if we're playing a game? Usually doesn't. And that's the massive advantage of games, that students don't know that they are learning, or they don't believe that they are learning, when actually everything they do is learning. So how did we use this game, the Black Stories? Was it game-based learning or game-assisted learning? What do you think? Assisted? Okay, why game-assisted learning?
Because you see, we already taught the aspect of structure that you want to test.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so we already knew it and we are just testing or practicing something we already learned before. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, any other idea? So the goal looks like it's different from actually our learning goal. Okay. So What's the difference between game-based learning and game-assisted learning? Well, if you use games to introduce, practice, apply skills and knowledge, if you play them for 20, 30 minutes, because through the game you're teaching something, then this is game-based learning, because your students learn on the basis of a game. So it's not this test, teach, test, where you're introducing something. You are actually using a game to teach, or you're using a game to test. Game-assisted learning is more like short activities, just like we played it now. I just checked if you remember it. I just checked if you can apply something that we already learned in a different lesson. So that's one way how we can approach it. If you want some quotes, again, be my guest. There are so many materials available online, but they always boil down to the same. Game-based learning means that you learn something as a student, as a learner, through the means of game. The game is your teaching material when you're a teacher. Okay, but then how do you really define game-assisted learning? Well, you can say that GBL, GAL, game-based learning, game-assisted learning, that they are just synonyms. Sometimes, especially when you have phrases like computer game-assisted learning or serious games-assisted learning, for whatever reason, people want to use assist, not based. So it's just a choice of term, whichever you prefer. But then sometimes if you want to say game-based learning, you're showing that based means this is your basis, this is your foundation. Without this, you cannot conduct the lesson in the way you want to do it. And game-assisted learning just shows that if I have time, I will use it. If I don't have time, I won't use it. So game-based learning is strictly rooted, well-defined. Game-assisted learning is somewhere there on the verge. So it really depends what you want it to mean, because people don't use it in one uniform way. So why use games in the classroom? What do you think? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Hands-on experience, learn by doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And again, yes, and we have problem with attention and attention seeking and attention span. So actually games can address a lot of different issues. Retention, yes, yes, as well.
Well, this generation, they are interested in game more than text, watching,
True.
like reading books. So I think games is the best.
So when we were growing up, we were growing up on books. Then the next generation was growing up on films. And today's generation is growing up on games. It doesn't matter if you like it, if you agree with it, it's happening, just face it. So we use games for a variety of reasons, and a lot of it is strictly beneficial for the classroom. So positive emotional connection, feedback that is immediate. You got your points because you did something right. You lost the game or you lost the round because you did something wrong. Individualized teaching, because the way you approach the game, the way you approach your teamwork, it can be directed towards your personal goals or your personal skills. Engagement, motivation, what you already mentioned, but also solving problems, task-based learning, project-based learning, that is much more effective than this traditional classroom. Games can help here a lot. Okay, but again, before we go into games, do you know the difference between games and playful activities? Because that's not the same thing. So is there anyone? Okay. Sorry. Okay, that's a good one. So do we have teachers from lower primary schools or kindergartens here? Yes, don't be shy. This is like the most important part of education. If in kindergarten, lower primary school, if students don't start well, then we suffer for the next 15 years. In kindergarten, in lower primary, they know, play games, have fun without rules. because then you engage. So to put it in simple terms, what you said is actually the answer to my question. In games, you have rules, win states and lose states, and someone is judging you. So you can always lose. You can always be the loser. Loser every single game. But when you play, you do it for fun. You can't lose because I want to draw something. You can't lose because I want to move around, because I'm kinetic. You can't lose in it. You do something because you like it. You don't want to do it anymore. You just stop and do something else, again, for fun. And we can have playfulness in the classroom, just like we can have games, but for different reasons, different moments, different way of introducing them. So today I'm definitely concentrating on games. Games can be playful, but they are still games with rules and with various win states, lose states. So we have games, we have playful activities, and then we have educational games. So go to shops, check them online, check them physically in physical shops, and then please don't buy them. Most educational games are wrong. They are so wrong on so many levels. The only educational game that actually is useful is Monopoly. I don't know if you realize, but Monopoly was started as a strictly educational games to show the dangers of capitalism. And it does it wonderfully. It's an average game, but because it does two things, actually it's very useful for education. But educational games very often make you lose. There is just one winner in Monopoly and everybody else loses. There is one person who knows how to read the rules, how to take advantage of the rules, and everybody else loses. And where is fun in that? I mean, did we learn counting? Yes. Did we learn taking turns in order? Yes. Did you have fun? Well, you won, but everybody. So many educational games do what they promise. They teach, and they are not that fun to play, not that fun to learn. Besides of that, what we take from games is gamification. If someone wants to talk about gamification, I'm all yours. I love gamification. I use gamification, but it's not games. Gamification means using game elements like points, progress bars, and so on, rewards, challenges, missions in the structure of your lesson or your course. There are serious games like simulations. Firefighters have them, the military have them, the police have them. They're used all the time for, I don't know, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years probably. And there are many simulations, especially war games, that people play for fun because they like challenges. Some people play chess and some people play war games. They are extremely difficult and people still do it. There is a group of games, serious games, simulations, that is really good for education. They are good games, so people will play them, but they are difficult, so they are not for everyone. And then we have communicative activities, and again, they take the fun factor and the rule sets from games, but adapt that to the lesson. So it feels like you're playing a game, taking part in a situation, but actually you are learning something. So, as I said, I want to focus on games. That's my goal today. So, let's play a game. Okay, I need a volunteer for charades. Can I have a volunteer? No, I will choose a volunteer. If there is no one, can you please come? So, have teams, and your team would be presenting, and the more words they can guess, the more points your team would get. So I will show you words. If you want to use it, you say yes, and you do it. If you don't want it, we'll go for another one. And you are trying to guess the word. So it's a normal game of charades. So describe the word, but you can only use single word. Okay. You can use, yes, we can change it. Okay. So. You can use single words.
Freedom, liberty, prisoner.
I think someone said rescue. Someone said rescue. Yeah. Okay, so one.
Swimming.
Okay. Okay, time's up. Sorry. So we got 3. Okay, so your team has 3 parts. Okay, I need another person. Or I will choose someone. So please self-nominate. I'm a very fierce teacher. Okay. So you can draw. You have markers.
Heart, love, can't see anything.
It's black. It will be working better.
Rabbit.
Positive question. Positive thinking. Positivity. Critical thinking. Shock.
President.
Surprise.
Mhm.
Wonder.
Oh, you said it, I think.
Okay, so emotion. If you want it, we keep it. If not, we go for it.
Okay.
Blocks.
Buildings.
Candles. Sleeping. Surprise. Judges or
Equality. Yes. We had this one before.
Can I act or
Nope.
I cannot act?
And time's up. I'm sorry. So we got 2. Thank you very much. And again, if we were playing in teams in the classroom, each team would go 1 time or twice. You would get your points. And then, of course, there is this level of competition, but also cooperation because everyone is helping everybody else. In my classroom, everyone would know those words beforehand. This is our list of words, vocabulary list. If you want, you can show, you can act, you can draw, you can use single words, you can use sentences, many ways to play charades. Who was in control of this activity? The students? No way. Who was showing the cards? Who was timing everything?
خلاص هات المسافه مش عايز تراجعي هات المسافه لا ما نخلص
Please mute yourself. Online users, please mute yourself. So you can control the classroom without saying a single word if you use a game, because the game has rules. So it's not me as a teacher that's imposing something. It's the game rules that are imposing something. Exactly, which helps you because now students perceive that it's not you in control, you pushing them, it's the game that is pushing them. You are helping them all the time. Exactly. So, very useful way to use games. It turns the blame for the learning, tedious learning from you. Concept is another game. And again, you can play it in teams, together, team against teams, or I'm the ruler of the game, I'm the game master, and I'm going to give you puzzles. The way it works, there is a group of pictures, and on the group of pictures, you just put the pieces that those pictures are somehow connected, and you need to guess how they're connected. What is the concept I'm trying to show you? So for example, there you go, you have the action, and then ring, arm, vehicle. Can you guess the action? Driving, thank you very much. It took 10 seconds. You're amazing, my best student. And again, point for your team. Okay, ready for something more challenging? This is for 2 points now, because this was easy, right? So this was drive, and the next one is animal, flying and small, foodstuff, liquid, red, night, negative, but they're all together. It's one animal. Yes, that's almost, of course. It's an animal that is flying and is small. What does it do? It eats liquid that is red, blood, and nights are extremely negative. Again, who was in control? Of course, I'm in control. I chose everything. So games help a lot in organizing the lesson, and they shift the center of attention from the teacher to the game, which actually is practicing whatever you want. The games I'm showing now are focused on language, but they don't have to be. So there you go. This was Mosquito. And now, what are the learning outcomes here? What do you think in this game? Vocabulary, speaking. So the storing and recalling. Yeah. But you don't have to use it for language. You can use it for history, for geography. It doesn't matter, because in the game, the full game, you have a mat with 100 pictures or more. So there are hundreds, thousands of concepts that you can represent. It doesn't have to be connected to language itself. Okay, another one of my favorites, Superified. It's no. Questions later. So the way you play it, it's a card game, it's a party game for fun. It's very, very quick. Let's see if it's going to work here on this touch screen. So the way you normally play it, you just draw a card. So creature one. Okay, you need to say stop. Okay, Darth Vader. Okay. I will need to move it, or maybe not. Let's see if it's going to work. Okay, you need to say stop. Mad scientist. So what do you think? Who would win? There is a super fight challenge. On one side, we have Darth Vader. And on the other, we have a mad scientist. Who would win? Why? Okay, yes, okay. So what can the mad scientist do? He needs some help. Okay. Say stop. So the mad scientist is armed with a chainsaw. Darth Vader needs something as well. Okay, what does Darth Vader have? Scissor hands. So what do you think now? Who's going to win? Okay, why? Okay, what else can he do with the chainsaw? Okay. What about the Vader and his force? Again, what is happening? What are the learning outcomes? Yes. And in the classroom, I would give you a minute or two to list your reasons or arguments, and then go for a head-on battle. You would have time to plan it in a team. So many things you can practice. I was teaching grammar when I used it, so for me it was modal verbs. May, might, should, must, have to, and so on. But it works for nearly anything, and it's so much fun. It's diabolically fun. Spyfall. Okay. Spyfall. So the way it works, you have cards, and they all show the same thing. All of them show the same thing. So this one is a police station. But one card has a spy. So when I give you the cards, one person in the team doesn't know the place. So what can you say, not to show that you're a spy, that you don't know the place? And as a team, how can you describe the place without showing that, of course, this is a police station? So you can say something like, people come there for help. Okay, but what else can you say? And every person needs to say just one sentence. So let's just try it very, very quickly. So I'm the spy. And there you go. So you can have a look. You see, if you sit in the front, not back benches, then you have more fun in the classroom. And the back benches, you're just watching. There you go. So look at the picture and tell me just one thing about the place.
There is a smoke in the place.
Okay. 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 It's a racing track. Yes. I'm the spy. I got the place before you got me. So what is happening is that the players play together, but one is betraying the team. There are lots and lots of games like that, where one person is really betraying the team. The team needs to find the traitor, and the traitor here is trying to find what is the place. Okay. When you buy the game, it's a box with cards. You get something like 30 different places, but you can buy 2 or 3 boxes now. So you get up to, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 different places. Okay, but we're interested in learning outcomes. What can you learn?
Right?
And this is conversation skill. How do you lie? Tell a white lie. Do you enjoy this workshop? Yes. Well, thank you so much. So again, anything you want to take out of the game, you can, because you attach it to your course. When you have 50, 60, 70 different places, you choose those that are connected to your course. It can be biology, chemistry, history, geography. Again, it's up to you how you want to connect it. Okay, once upon a time. So there you go. There are cards. And you just take them one by one and you build a story. So I just took them at random. So a long time ago, there was a castle. And under the castle, there was a river, and in the river lived the biggest fish you saw in your life. And you know what? All the people came from the whole country to look at the castle, but no, they weren't really interested in the castle. Secretly at night, they were going to the river to find the fish because the country was just pure desert. You just keep on going. It doesn't matter. What's next? Squire. Okay, so there was a boy, and he thought that he will take the fish for himself. You just build the story as it goes. Now I'm doing it on my own, but it's a game. So in a game, you work as a team to build a story, and you try to play your cards as quickly as you can, quicker than other players. But again, you can simplify it. So we're building a story together. So everyone has to put down a card. Everyone has to say a sentence, and then the next, the next, the next. We finish as a team. When as a team we have a story, and then we see which team has a story quicker. Then you can have the teams compare the stories. Which story has grammatical mistake, lexical mistakes, any other kind of mistakes you're looking for. Or maybe you're checking if they used something you wanted. So if they have passive voice, modal verbs, adjectives, whatever you were teaching them. Are they using it already or not yet? This game is a commercial game. You have to pay for it. But if you go online, you can find the original version from something like 20 or 25 years ago. So again, lots and lots of ways to use it. Do you remember our cards? No, so you already have your story. Now you need to use disappoint, workout, and standard of living in your story. Yalla. Yeah. And again, you just use the cards for a different game. For instance, vocabulary list, or physically a different game, and you combine them. If you have time. If you don't have time, you don't. If you have time, you do. And that's what tricks about games. They take time, and the more fun students have, it takes more time because they want to play and play and play. So slowly, we need to move towards the end of the workshop. There is another game, story cubes. You don't have cards, you have cubes. I have the cubes here. You will be able to have a look at them. Ooga Booga. It's one of my favorite games that seems to be completely useless in the classroom, and it's not. You see cards, one after another. There you go. And they have just some funny pictures. Now, the trick is, do you remember them? So the first one is who? Who? Kiki. So do you remember all the cards? Okay. Who? Kiki. Scott. You're really good. My best student so far. Who? I can't clap. I have the remote. You need to clap for it. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And the last one. Can you get all of them? If you do, we can leave early without homework. What did you learn?
Memory.
Practicing memory. It's one of the basic skills that students don't do anymore because everything is online. So it doesn't matter what topic, what subject, what course. Actually, it is helpful. Okay, what else did you practice? Mm-hmm. Did you work as a team? You want students to work as a team. How do you make them work in a team? Give them a collective challenge, give them a collective reward or team reward, and let them go for it. You just all did. I was in control. I planned it from the beginning and you didn't even see it coming. That's the advantage of games. So lots and lots of games that I can show you. The whole presentation is already online. At the end of the presentation, I will give you the link. So another game is Choose Your Own Adventure. Actually, it's a collection of books, hundreds and hundreds of books. Choose your story, choose your own adventure. 2 of them were turned into small board games. It still takes 2 hours to play it. And then there is a demo version that actually you can use in the classroom. So that's what a card looks like. And then sometimes you need to roll a die to check if you passed the challenge. So there you go. We can roll a die. And no, we didn't do it. So now there will be a consequence. If you have a die in the classroom, you roll a die. If you don't have a die, you can have it on board, or you can have any other way of selecting results. But we are in the middle of a story. And now, when we are in the story, you have to make a choice because it's choose your own adventure. If you meet with General Gad, go to card 10. If you want to see provisional governor, go to card 2. If you investigate the extremist, go to story card 4. Where do you want to go? Do you want to see the general, the governor, or extremists? It's up to you. Where do you want to go? So who wants to go to General GAD? Hands up. Okay. Who wants to go to Provisional Governor? No one. Government? You dislike the government? And who wants to go to Extremists? Do you see? It's something to discuss in another lesson. Okay, so you chose, this was card 4. Okay, so 10. There you go, we are in the Extremists, and there is the next part of text, next mini game, and then some results in the game, and the story moves on and on and on. The problem is that those cards sometimes have a lot of text. So what you might want to do is to limit, that's what I did, 3 pages of text limited to just 1. It took me 2 work. Every day, 5 hours, reading it, checking word lists, putting it together. So be careful before you start working on adapting games, because sometimes it can be extremely long. But then, do you think you could use this game in the classroom? Okay, yes. When yes, or for what purpose? Mm-hmm. Yes. And students will feel that they are in control of their reading because they make choices. What's happening next? It's not that you tell them, oh, you have to read those 20 stories. No, you make your choice. But some of you know that, I don't think so. Why not? What's the problem? The language here, I mean, the original version, no way that I can use it with my students. This can be one issue. Some topics in those games. I mean, when you have cards, you just chuck one card out, you don't have the problem. Here, you chuck out one card, the game doesn't work. So bigger games have other issues, and sometimes you just can't work around them, or you have to adapt the whole game. And there are lots and lots of games based on cards and on stories. They're bigger, they are smaller, and there's so much you can do with them. Some of them are shorter, some of them can be played in batches, so every day, 10 minutes only. They are cards, so you just keep the last card. We're starting tomorrow. So depending on what you want, what you can do, and the size of your classroom, there are many different games you can try to go for. So far we had Charades, Taboo, Worldstorm, Hint, Concept, Superfied, Spyfall, Once Upon a Time, Story Cubes, Ooga Booga, Choose Your Own Adventure, Black Stories, Time Stories, Unlock, Escape Rooms, Treasure Hunts. What do you think from those? Which ones could you use in your classroom? And on one hand, it depends on your course. On another, it depends on your students, but on another, it depends on you. You choose the games that you like. If you like them, you will like using and teaching them. And then most probably students will like playing them. So go for things you like. Do you play the games that you don't like? So why would you introduce something you don't like in the classroom? There is a very wide selection. But again, be careful. I'll show you very briefly a game Alice is missing. If someone after the workshop wants to have a look at the cards for the game, it takes 90 minutes just to play it and some like 20, 30 minutes to set it up. So you need 2 hours just to play it. You can have 5 teams. Now actually there will be ability to play with 9 teams, 9 different characters. What is happening is Alice is missing and you are her friends from school and you're trying to find her. But instead of having 5 students, you can have 5 teams of students. So you can play the game in the classroom. You play the game in the chat room because everything you say, you don't say it. It's as if you are in different classrooms and you're sending messages to your friends. Where is Alice? And as a teacher, I'm pushing the game because sometimes I give you cards, more information about locations or people or things that somehow are connected to Alice. So the story naturally moves on. because every 5 minutes, something new is happening and you're all commenting on it. So you need to find Alice and the culprit who somehow stopped Alice from coming, that she disappeared. One thing you need to discuss is the topics we're not going to refer to relate to at all. There are taboo topics in different cultures at different ages. Again, you need to list them. So do you see how much preparation we need to do? How many steps there are? Every team, choose a phone. Who is using the phone? Who's typing? Who's reading? Then you choose your characters, but you need to share the characters with other players. So, and it goes on and on and on. So just preparing this game will take 20 minutes. And then you need to play for 60 minutes. And it's the short version. The original game goes for 90 minutes. Do you think you could play it in the classroom? But it's a very good game. And that's the trick. You need to play games on your own first. You need to try to adapt games on your own first with other teachers, because sometimes even the best idea, conversations all the time non-stop. And it's too difficult to introduce it to the classroom. We tried it, and what we got after 45 minutes was 1,500 words, 136 posts. It was a booklet just after one lesson, after a 60-minute lesson. But it took away the whole lesson. Well, actually, with preparations, it took away 2 lessons. So can you spare that? If you can, go for Alice is Missing. It's wonderful. If you can't, don't even think about it. Go for a different game. I showed you some short games already. Okay, so we're getting to the end. I told you go for games. Games are the best, but there are those educational games. So let's check. Is an educational game going to do anything worthwhile for us? So how do you play it? You get cards and you need to arrange them. Which is the earliest, which comes in timeline, which comes later, and which is the last. So we have invention of the playing card, invention of glass bottle, first man in space, creation of croissant, discovery of planetary motion. And again, we can play it in teams. The first team to get it right gets the point, gets the reward, or maybe the whole classroom gets that. So what do you think? Which of those is the earliest? Invention of the playing card? Glass bottle, okay. So 1 point if you're correct. Another point if you guess the time. Century, which century? Okay, so of course it was 200 BC, more or less. So you don't get the point for time, but they got the point for, this was the first. Okay, what's the next one? Okay, planetary motion. What do you think? When was that discovered? Okay, so of course the next one is invention of the playing cards. No one gets their points. I'm terribly sorry. But you're right. The next one is planetary motion. So when is planetary motion? There you go. 16th century. Actually, it was the whole movement had at least 50 years on. So if you say 14, 15, you're right. Okay, so now, croissant or first man?
Croissant.
Croissant, okay, but when?
In France.
No, not now, probably, but when? Okay, so your team says 17, your team says 18, your team says 19, and we'll see which team gets the point or reward or no homework. It is the end of the 17th century. And then we get first man in space, and here, no, you need to give me exactly the year. So Yuri Gagarin, so it's not landing on the moon, it is the first man in space. 61. So you get half of the, only half homework for your team. Again, who was in control? I chose everything. I even chose the cards. And again, there are hundreds and hundreds of cards for the game timeline. There are, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 versions of the game. And from those hundreds of cards, I chose the cards that you played. I'm in total control, and you didn't feel it at all. You were just going for the points, for the rewards, for the team, or for let's leave early. If we guess it, he will let us go early. That's how you use games, because they engage and they motivate, and it's internal motivation much more than external motivation. Because if you tell your students, oh, but you need your grades, and your students, oh, really, I don't care about grades. I will pass anyway. External motivations are nice only as long as they work. Games bring internal motivation. Okay, so we should be finishing. So let's move on. Okay, so I will let you go early. If you can guess, a woman stopped 3 steps from a hotel. If she moves exactly 3 steps, she will be completely ruined. She will lose everything she has. What's her story? I can only tell you yes or no.
There's a hole.
Nope. Good guess. No. No, sorry. It's a safe. No, but again, a very good guess. No, there are no steps. I mean, like steps going up or going down. No, it's steps like this. Okay, good guess. No. No. And look how many ideas you're giving me. I wouldn't even think about all of those concepts. You gave me all of those concepts. You are practicing them. You are recalling them. You are discussing them in teams. Because again, in the classroom, I would say, you have a minute, come back to me in a minute with your questions. So of course, the answer is, the woman is playing Monopoly and she's 3 steps away from a plot with hotels. If she rolls 3 and moves 1, 2, 3, she's going to lose the game. Well, so sorry. You can't leave early, you have to stay, and there is extra homework for you. So, if you want to use games in the classroom, please do. There are so many good games. Go for original games, the games that you get from bookshops, from shops with toys with children, from games shops. We have quite a few of those. It's not video games. Go for board games, card games, because these are easy to use in the classroom. You can distribute them. You can't distribute a video game. So actually, those games that I brought here are much easier to use in the classroom than other games. And be ready to simplify and adapt. You just have to, because you're not really playing their game and you don't want to spend 20, 30 minutes explaining the rules. You just want to go and play. You can, because most of those games, I simplified the rules. I can explain them in the classroom in 1 minute. But it takes time and practice. It depends on the age of your students and on the subject you teach. Ask students for feedback. Did you like the games? Yes or no. Which games did you like more? Which games did you like less? So I don't bring the games you don't like playing, because any game you're going to play, you're still going to learn what I want you to learn. So ask your students for help. Another issue is the rights, copyrights, ownership. IP is for, now I forgot, the ownership of ideas. Who is really the owner of the game? Is it me, the teacher? Is it the person who sold it to me? Is it the author, or is it the school? Did my school pay for the game? And in Poland, I'm from Poland. In Poland, most schools are national state schools. So the school is for free for students. So the school isn't earning anything on students coming to the school. But in Kuwait, in the Gulf, many schools are private. So you're using a commercial product in your classroom and your school is earning on it, right? And you're not giving a penny to the creator of the game. Did you buy the game? Or did you just download it for free from the internet? So there is this gray legal area. Please check it. It's different in every single country and with many different games. Some of the games I showed you today, they have demo versions and you can use them. Some of them don't. So please first pay 10 KD or 5 KD and buy them. So, well, there was the, yes, questions and answers. So ladies, thank you very much for attending the workshop. If you need to leave, I understand that time's up, but if you have any questions, I'm here to answer your questions or to show you the games. All the games that I showed you in slides, all of them are here, so you can come and touch them. So if you have any questions, I'm right here for it. Thank you very much. Oh, yes, the copy of the slides. I'm sorry, I didn't show you the copy of the slides. Yes. The copy of the slides are at gamesforteachers.net. So if you go to my blog, you will see all the slides. Thank you. And all the games.
So I can get this set up with your sync.
Yes, 65160446. So games and game-based learning and gamification.
And so you just write a little invitation, and we'll send it out to the entire membership with your email, and they'll reply to you, and you're off and
Great.
running.
This would be wonderful.
So awesome. We have
There is a lady today from the Ministry of Education, and she's going to talk about gamification. I want to see what she's got to say and what they're going to do, because if she's from the ministry, no, she's going to present today.
Oh,
We'll see.
amazing. I have to go, but the important thing is. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
So I'll be in touch, and we'll set you up, and this is amazing. So you don't mind if I WhatsApp you?
Please do.
Okay.
Hello. So I didn't use it because I teach English, but this is very good for logical thinking, for teaching patients, because you need to take turns, especially for younger teachers, younger learners, for children, coping with loss or coping with inability. Children were locked away from schools, locked away from interactions, and all the time they heard yes, yes, yes. You can, you'll get it. But in a game, you lose. Children need to cope with losing, that nothing really happened. You just lost a game, we can play again. This takes 1 minute or 2 minutes to play, and children need to cope with losing.
So it's like more suitable for kindergarten.
Yes, with this one, definitely. But if you want to, you could use it with students, university students of statistics.
Yeah.
What are different probabilities depending on the setups?
That's
So if you want, you can use games like that, logical games at a very high level, teaching mathematics, probability, and statistics.
You know, I would say like probably the problem with this one, any logical game.
I'll just collect the cards. Okay, sorry.
After each game, in order to make them get benefit from it, you need to do like some sort of analysis, like logical
Yes.
and mathematical analysis, and that would take time. I think that's one of the challenging part of having this kind of games. But yeah, it's
Yes. So introducing games takes time, but after practice, you can stop using some of your teaching techniques, and instead of that, you're using games. So whether you want to use it for test, whether you want to use it for teaching, because with some of them, they're so obvious that you're teaching a specific skill, that you can drop it. Okay, yes, sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
We can leave this here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I can't see it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was with you at the meeting online during COVID.
Where?
I used to teach as part time.
Quiet?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Telecommunication navigation. Front and back, the other shepherd.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen your name.
Yeah, I was
Sometimes
with Miss Moza.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was the head. I think she's still the head.
No, she's done with the 4 years. And we don't have someone responsible for the department.
No.
فعلى الإدارة وإن شاء الله next year they're gonna be head of department. أنت وين تشتغل؟
رحت اكثر من مكان وحاليا كيو جالس الكويت.
ما شاء الله الله يوفقك يا رب.
أجمعين ان شاء الله.
يعني ما راح نشوفك عندنا.
والله از بارت تايم صعبه اي. اي لو رجع هذول 5
درست اللغة الإنجليزية؟ ما شاء الله الله يوفقك.
ان شاء الله.
تعرف شملان
شغال جناعي.
اي وش اسمه؟
سعود عبد الله.
عيسى ولا يوسف اسمه اسمع فيهم انا يعني.
يوسف
البدر
يوسف البدري بس هو عندكم بعد سمعي يدرس عندكم؟
I don't know بس يعني تشتغل معهم ترجمة وكذي ما
I think he's in basic education.
really
بس انه
بس
بارت تايم.
عندهم اليونيون الحين مال ترجمة translation
اي هذا
اي سوسايتي ما شاء الله انا بس باخذ I like ideas. This one is عندكم جامعة كذي؟
لا والله
للأسف ها؟
للاسف
والله دراساتنا يعني الله يدخل.
بس بروجكت.
اي انت درست اونلاين يعني ما جيت المعهد درست.
معاكم جيت يمكن اول اسبوعين لين صار تصير الكوفيد.
اوكي يعني ما درست فيزيكال؟
لا
كلش؟
كله اونلاين.
شنو الماده اللي اخذتها؟ كلش؟ يعني كمبيوتر
لا انجلش.
I know بس اي اس بي ولا عام؟
لا اتوقع ان اس بي اتوقع كان حق اي خلاص.
جامعة الكويت عندكم اي اس بي يعني ولا؟
علي اسال هو يعتبر اكاديميك بيربز.
اي كليه؟
علم نفسي.
الله يوفقك يا
ان
رب.
شاء الله.
Thank you so much.
الله يعافيك.